Alright, so I'm back here working on here. I'm just kind of starting to chisel away. So remember these bump stops here? Besides the two welds up here by the nuts, which those nuts spun right off with the impact, by the way. I got the bump stop brackets chiseled all out of the way and kind of got the rust scrubbed here. This frame rail right here, this is fine. This will clean up okay. We're not going to put those bump stops back in. Mostly there's no bracket here. And those bump stops haven't been hit in forever. And I'm not going to ever load the van and haul anything. So it will never load to the point where it should need those bump stops. So we're just going to hope we'll be all right. And then ignore the noise when we're not. Anyway, the good news is that one looks okay. That should clean up fine. But, you know, if we just left that on there and grind it over, this would have just all been rusted underneath and would have rotted out. So, save that. Now, we'll go over to the other side here. In the other side, not as good of a story, but not so bad. We could see this hole right in front of the bump stop, so that'll need a patch. But what I'll probably do is patch this whole thing all the way, you know, back here or something, and just, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend the U bracket. I'll make one, and then you just weld all the way down, all the way across it on the edges, and it'll be stronger in factory because it'll be plated, and that'll be after, you know, we put new metal in and clean it up. But there's the hole there. That's the hole. That's, you know, it's between the layers of steel, so this will be, you almost want to come in here and cut this outer layer, peel it back. But with that bigger plate all the way back to here, it really doesn't matter what happens underneath necessarily. But we'll still get it, you know, welded on, and we'll fill these cavities with cavity wax, fluid film, whatever, you know, and it should slow her down. But a big plate over that should be okay. Otherwise, you know, here's this in the daytime. There's the rocker corners. Oh, and I had the sheet metal for the other side. I test fitted and everything. It'll be good, and then whatever we don't use, we'll be able to use, you know, for plating for the rockers and stuff. And I got a couple of those panels, so we'll see. I think we're doing okay. I haven't done up here in the front yet, but here's where it gets funny. So we're down here right now, and you can see our frame has returned to the earth. And this is what I'm at right now. I've been hammering and chiseling away. So right where this bigger plate meets it is where it rotted away up underneath. And this hole wasn't there before. This hole was. This all blew out as I was working on it here. So that's where we're at right now. That's pretty bad. And this is paper thin here. This is all going to blow out here as I keep going at it. So this whole thing is going to need plated all the way back to right here is where it's solid again at this bar. So probably cut this outer plate here flush, because I'll be able to plate over it. I don't know. I assume this has got some structural purpose to it. This piece where it's seam welded here. I don't know. But yeah, see, it's blown out here behind it. This is pretty solid right here, but right here is where it blows out. Yeah. Then up underneath where the metal's tucked together, there's nothing left of this piece. Up under here, it's just this outer shell. So I don't know. We got to patch it some form. This has got to get patched big time. And the other side I thought was worse than this side. We'll see how that goes. But I'm just going to keep hammering away. Get this. I'm going to get the worst of it kind of beat out here with a chisel and a hammer. You know, the van has returned to the earth. It's, you know, the dollar signs just keep going as more falls. Like, you know, just watch this. You know, I'm just tapping on it lightly. I got most of the loose stuff out, but just kind of seeing what comes loose. And I've been in there scooping with my hands and stuff. Look at this. Just keeps coming. The rocker's out to play too. Look at this big chunks of, you know, was metal at some point. My gloves are about shot. I'm going to get tetanus. So, you know. Yeah, it's not very good. That's not very good at all. But, hey, we're getting it. This is, you know, the turning point. Do we save it or not? But we're going to get her saved. I'm not even going to worry about the rockers yet. Anyway, I thought I'd just give you an update here where we're at. There, she's opened up now. I'll get my hand in there now. Alright, here's the worst hole. Yeah. That's fun. So, patch back to about here and all the way out to, I think, here, because this is pretty weak here. Put a big full patch. I think we'll cut this brace out and we'll put him back after, because we'll want that out of the way when we make the patch, because we'll make a big solid patch. Granted, this is in 2 pieces here, because that's just the way they are. They kind of slide over each other. But we'll figure out how we want to secure that. Alright, so we're back test grinding here. I still haven't cut that out yet, so we're working around it. But here I'm grinding around this hole in the frame. So there's metal to weld to. I haven't worked on this side too far yet, but just giving a test run here, seeing what my mileage is going to be on these blades and stuff. And this is an 80 grit. I've got some 40 grit blades too, which I might have to go with, but we're just doing some test runs here. But it's coming out okay. There's metal there. Look at that way. Alright, I think I got the rails and everything washed out the best I can. I can see all the rivets now back here. There's definitely more stuff up there, but this rocker's gotta come out anyway. So that is what it is. Yeah, the rails run clean as far as water goes now, and I can kind of see paint and stuff when I look in the holes, and all the dirt and stuff is gone. And yep, next time we're in here, really start grinding in here. But it's gonna get to dry out for a day or two here. I'm soaked. Oh, yeah, you can, look, you can see up there. Bunch more acorns fell out, as you can see all the way down this rail. They like this rail apparently on the driver's side, but yeah, you can see all the hardware now. I got all the dirt and stuff out of here. It'll make it easier to work with here. Yeah, it's crusty up in there, so we'll get these outsides painted. Try spraying and paint as much as I can after we grind and whatever, but and then we'll fill it full of oil. And then one bonus of gravel roads is once you have it filled with oil, look at this. There's stuff just sitting here on the lip that wants to come out. I have acquired more rust acorns. Once the oil is coated over everything, you drive it down a gravel road, and that dirt creates a barrier. Kind of increases the oil's ability to protect. So as long as we got all the salt, and it's not like there's salt. I haven't driven it in the winter, but residual rust, salt, whatever, it's all gone. Underside is clean as far as that goes. Now we just gotta grind it down, and it's gonna be tedious. I don't know how much I'll actually bring you through here. It's because it's just tedious, busy work. But I'll keep updating you here, and what I'll probably do is I'll pick a section to grind for the day, kind of grind it out, and once it's grinded out, we'll blow it off with a compressor or whatever, wipe it down, and then we will brush paint it. That way it's protected and doesn't like flash rust overnight. And we'll just do it in sections. Obviously saving the worst for last, because we'll have to patch and weld those. But and then once we're done with the center rails and stuff, we'll kind of get up in here, get closer to this rocker panel, and then we'll go from there. And I might have to order. So they make this section, right? Depending on how much I need, let's say I only need like this, we'll be able to take, and that section's like comes out to here, which is really nice. This whole extra section is the same flat piece as that. So we'll use that to patch this in, and then I'm waiting on a call back from a shop or a salvage yard. They've got 2 fenders for me, and we'll use those 2 fenders to make those arches again, and then the little lips will kind of meet up with the patch panels and stuff. And then I've got 2 of these panels. I bought 2 because I can't remember, I bought 2. So what I'll be able to do is, even though it's not the same, the fender should catch most of this, and then we'll use the rest of it to patch it up. And then the bottom is the same bend for the rockers. We should be able to use that to at least make rocker panels and stuff. And then this patch panel here too. But it's going to be a lot of work. Don't get me wrong here. And I can't say that I've ever done this whole kind of restore before. I've done bits and pieces and a lot of watching other people do it. Well, we did a test run on the paint here. I thoroughly screwed up in that I realized the gloves I was wearing after the fact are not paint proof. I got most of it scrubbed off here, but I definitely got some residue on my hands still. Also, they said you might need to thin that paint if you put it in a paint gun. Look how thin that paint is. It was just pouring off of the brush. Anyway, I grinded down this whole section here, this little tiny piece here, and that's the way I'm going to have to do it here, or the way I'm going to, is I'm just going to work in sections. You know, grind down a section best I can. There's only so much I can do with this, and I ain't doing it by hand. You know, knock off as much loose rust as I can, and then come in with a scraper, knock anything else off. And then hit it with this heavy, it's Rust-Oleum heavy, Rust-Oleum Industrial Heavy Rusted Metal Primer. So it's probably the best paint for this case scenario as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, with the brush, you usually get up in that seam real well. I've got some seam sealer coming here that I'm going to go through all of those seams after, you know, I've rust painted them and everything, and I'm going to fill those seams so dirt and stuff can't get up in them and make it worse. But yeah, anyway, and then I also painted this wheel arch. I said I was going to scrape this stuff off, but I'm not going to. I didn't get up in here because, see all this oils and stuff? That's all got to get grinded out. Dog, you don't want to eat that paint. What you doing? He's investigating too. But got up in here, got all this. Didn't touch this side here because this is all got to get worked on still. But I got the inner wheel here. That's a little rust up there. I should go through and scrape that, then repaint it again. But we'll get to that when we get to that. That's going to get some fiberglass. But I had a bunch of extra paint. It's thin. It is really thin. And obviously it's going to take a couple coats because it goes on so thin. And it just drips off. See all the drip lines on the frame? That's going to look great. But, yeah, I switched to the 40 grit wheel. That wheel worked a lot better. So we're probably going to run the 40 grit wheel. Oh, hi, cat. Everybody's coming to investigate. Don't step in the paint. Anyway, my laydown mat I have ruined, you know, naturally. So, while this dries up, I'm going to go pick a spot. Probably over there by that rear rail. Oh, yeah, when I was sanding, I, you know, discovered a hole in the frame here, too, a small one, in the same spot as the other one. So, or the other side, I should say. So there's a fourth patch. That one, not that bad, really. But, you know, it's going to be a process. Especially when this is all going to be dripping on me as I'm painting underneath. So, maybe I'll pick a center section here and, like, do, like, this section right here. You know? I don't know. We'll see. It really, really doesn't matter. But I got to do it in sections. It's the only way I'm going to keep myself on focus here. And just know, you ever doing something like this, you're not going to get it perfect. This vehicle is a rust bucket. What we're aiming to do here is slow the rust down. You know, knock off all the loose stuff, all the paint that's chipped where stuff gets behind it and moisture stays. Get all of that off, and then paint over what's left. Seal that rust in, so it's not exposed to oxygen, so it doesn't oxidate, and so it slows down. Now, inside this rail, rust is still in there. Every time I hit it, it fills up and just acorns are still falling out of the damn thing. And I soaked this frame again twice. I've had this frame completely filled with water, and there's still rust and acorns and junk inside this rail. Best we can do is paint the outside, fill the inside with oil. That'll slow it down. Slow it down enough that we don't have any immediate structural concerns. Like, we're going to patch that. I painted over it with primer now. We'll make a patch, and we'll only grind down where we're welding. You know, if that. I might just weld right through the damn paint. I don't know. I'll probably grind it down and then, like, hit it with a weldable primer. Be my theory on that, or my thought. But it looks good. It looks good. It doesn't look all scaly or anything. It just looks like paint, which is nice. It's brown, but it's paint. I don't care what color it is. We'll come back and we'll paint the wheel arches like a gray or like a black or something. We'll make them look nice. I'm rambling. I just got you on the tripod in the background. So we're going to get back to it. We're going to start grinding somewhere else. All right, I'm a mess. My hands are okay, but my arms and everything, a mess. It's a mess. So I got a second coat on this chunk here, but before that, I got this whole square done. I did a centerpiece right there where the fuel tank is, where it didn't have any rust, so I just kind of painted over it. I missed a spot right there, as you can see right there. I'll get that later. I've got to sand those down, those two sections. And then up under the wheel arch over there, I got that side too. Sanded down and painted, as well as this chunk of rail right here. There, now you can see. Yep, got all this whole chunk just like the other side. Straight across, and then that centerpiece. So we've got to do the back section back here next, which I'll have to precariously move my tires. I got to work around the spare tire thing because I wasn't able to get a grinder in there to bust the weld, so we're just going to leave it. I got it pulled down so you can paint above it and stuff, and then we'll get that, and then that'll be the back half of the van painted. And then the front half should be easier because there's less rust. There's spots here, here and there I'll have to pop in the center floor, and then the front floor is bad because of the water leak, if you guys remember. Then obviously the rail is shot, but it's moving pretty quickly. It's messy. I just, had to just give it and just send it with that brush. Anyway, yeah, the paint's thin, so, and I'll have to come back and coat it this a second time, but it's dark. I can't see anything. My light's full of paint. You can see some of it on there, but it's got a bunch of paint on it. I got paint all over my face. I got paint on my arms. I gotta figure out how to get that all off. But, progress. So, that's cool. Hopefully that slows her down a bit. It should. Certainly better than doing nothing. Then obviously we've still got to come back and do a patch here, a little patch there, 2 big patches up front. And then once that's all done, we can start putting the bottom end back on it, like the suspension and the fuel tank, which I gotta sand the fuel tank and probably coat the top of it too. We're done with the next patch. It's all sanded down anyway. It's ready for paint. So, got the rail all cleaned up. So you can see that's where the holes are, or the first hole. I spot treated this one best I can. Got over there. Got the rocker panels on both sides here. I'll show you here. This rocker's in decentish shape, actually, the inner rocker. So that cleaned up actually really nice. That was completely scaled in rust, so obviously a few holes and stuff, but not too bad. Savable. That side, the bottom's all gone, as you can maybe kind of see. But I have time to paint these 2 sections right here. And then we've got one more section up front, which really isn't all that much. Just a little bit on the rails and a couple spots in the center. And I don't know why I didn't do that at one piece, but, whatever. I'll do that, paint that. And then we just got the section in back, and that's it. As far as the underbody goes. pretty creative, I thought. I have a small tripod for exactly this. I can't find it, unfortunately. It's perfect for this. I have no idea where it went. Anyway, I'm covered in paint. But, here, let's take a look at what we just got done, what you just watched me get done. Both of these sections are now painted. Looks pretty good, I'd say. That leaves just one more section up front here, which is where the big rot holes are. And most of that is good. The rails really don't need much except where the rot is, because they're covered in power steering and oil and everything else. All right, the front's all painted up too. So the only piece we got left back there is there for tomorrow. And then that's it as far as this goes. And then it's just spray painting, getting that gray primer in there. And then making those patch panels. I think I'm going to try and get the metal for that tomorrow. Alright guys, I just got back from Home Depot. Here is our sheet metal we're going to use to make those patch panels. 16 gauge steel. It's a 24 by 24 square. I got 2 of them just in case. And our MagnaFlow catalytic converter came in today with the gasket and everything. So that's cool. But in that pile of parts and mess, we've got this new guy. And I don't know, oh, that came off of that metal I test bent. I had a piece of stainless I test bent. It had some old glue on it. But this here is our little metal brake I just bought. This was $29.99 on clearance at Harbor Freight. And I bolted it into this counter here with some good wood anchor screws. Anyway, this says it'll do 16 gauge, so that's perfect. I just test bent a 16 gauge piece of stainless, so, and it worked just fine. Anyway, the way you do it is you have it flat like this, put your metal here. Obviously this is where it bends and folds upward here, so make sure you measure it out right, and then you put this over top of the metal at the bend here, clamp it down with some good clamps, and just give her hell, I guess. So that is what we're going to do after we do some measuring and cutting and making the panel pieces that I need. So I'll put you on the tripod and you can watch me fail at this. Apparently I can measure somewhat decently here. So I cut out my chunk here, I measured it, cut it with my new blade, and then I've got, here's our 2 1/4, our 3 and our 3, and it turned out to be perfect somehow. I even took a straight edge to it. Look at that. So I'm going to put this in the bender, bend here, and we should have our piece of rail to tap up in there. It should be a pretty good fit. Well, 2 for 2, and I'm doing some brainstorming here. We might be able to save these. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to cut out a little piece that'll fit in here and give it a little bend and just weld it to this, right? That would make sense, huh? And then we got the bump stops back. Granted, I think we would do that. Did you do it after you put the axle on? Because you gotta remember, take into account that you gotta know where it's supposed to be at, which I think was like right there. It was where the bracket was, right there. So we gotta keep that in mind. It's probably welded on after the bracket's already in place here, or test fit it, mark it, and then do it. That wouldn't be a bad idea either, but I got 2 of them here. So that's the 2 rear brackets. Now, gotta figure out the front ones, which are a little different because of this outer shell here, because the rail kind of slips into this front piece here, as you can see, kind of. This is a different piece, and they slip into each other. You see it better right there where it overlaps. And I do believe that we'll just make a bracket that goes all the way around it, I think. I don't know, or do we make 2 brackets, or I haven't quite decided what I want to do here yet. I'll have to do some thinking. What I could do is cut this out right here and make another inner bracket that'll slip over that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't quite know. But that's what we gotta figure out now. Otherwise, the paint up under here looks pretty good, huh? Yeah, it looks freaking sweet. Alright. Alright, I really like that bender. So we're definitely getting the bump stops back. So I made these little brackets here. So cut something vaguely. I just kind of eyeballed it. And then I put a little tab bend here. Then I bent it down here. And then I bent it here. And here's my little metal fab table, this beautiful ladder. Anyway, I'm working on the inner panel for the front right side. So the way we're going to have to do it here is make an inner panel for the back part where the rail is thinner. And then we'll make a outer panel that will go around it. And it'll kind of beef up that whole thing, to be honest with you. That way it sits flush when we go to weld it, because we'll put this on, slip the outer one over this plus the outer rail there, and it'll be pretty good, I think. But got this hole, gonna bend it here and here. It's gonna be same sort of style as that, except I gotta cut a notch because there's a cross beam in one section there. So we notch this out right here, which is what I'm about to do. But spent my first wheel here, so I gotta swap that out real quick. There's the measurements I took. I'll cut that, and then we'll go bend these two bends in there, and then that should fit. So then we'll test fit that, and then we'll have to measure out for the outer rail and build that one. Well, here's our piece. Let's go test fit. And I did get the notch in the right spot, so I was thinking properly, I guess. But this guy should sit right up. Here's your test fit. That's gonna fit. That will get us to be the same diameter as that, as you can see. My notch, a little close on that side, it looks like. We're kind of butted up against that piece, so we'll edge a little bit off of that. Actually, I think yeah, that's perfect fit. So we'll touch that up just a little bit, free that up so it's not as tight of a fit there. Otherwise, did what we needed for back there. So let me do some thinking here, figure out how I want to do the rest of it right here. All right, guys, this is gonna work. I got to do a little adjusting. So my slot needs to be just a little wider. But look at that, slips right on over that, slips over that, and butts up to this inside piece here. And then it's up over on this side, and then I gotta notch that right there, which I marked, and it'll slide over those brackets because they should be flush to that. So it'll slip over that, hold that in place. And now we're attached to that bracket there, which all that leaves is just kind of patching in that hole right there. Which that is going to be a flat piece over top of it. And we'll kind of butt it up right to the end of this. And I think I kind of probably go flat, flush out to this, make this panel. And we'll make a little L piece to butt up to that, and we'll seam it together. Alright, there's our last piece in there. Covers the last hole there. Gotta trim a little bit off that little tab there, but I just got it clamped in place so I can mark it. But there it is. There's our repair on the rail. Looks pretty good, I think. I think that'll work great. Obviously, we're gonna weldable primer them, and then obviously weld them in one at a time. But there's all the pieces made for it. Alright, got the driver's side all fabbed up. That last piece had kind of a weird bend, so I had to do it manually, and it doesn't look good, and then I bent it the wrong way the first time, but whatever. That gap is intended, as is factory. I got this one a little wide, going this way, but it'll be alright. It will sit up like this. It's kind of flexed because of the way that it is, so when this gets welded on first, it'll be up there, so it won't be a problem. And then we got the middle piece back there to kind of shim that one up, and then the front piece is for that one. So it's kind of got a weird different overlap to it now, but that's kind of just the way it had to go, the way I was patching it. Alright, got the new rims tore down. Got the valve stems out, all the wheel weights punched off them. Now we're going to hit it with the kind of grinding wheel, knock all this loose stuff off. I've got a cheap sandblaster here and some sandblasting, I don't know what you want to call it, gravel, dust, rock, I don't know, because you're going to need it to get in these little crevices, but we'll get as much as we can with the grinding wheel first. Okay, grinding wheel did a lot of work here. Well, some don't look too bad, except this one is really, really bad. Like, I think what I'm going to do with this one is take the spare tire off of that rim, put it on this one after I clean it up, and then we'll use that as a good one. This one's pretty rough. The rest don't look too bad, and I'm just concerned with down here. Like, look how pitted this one is. That one's really, really bad. The rest, not that bad. At least on the front sides. Still gotta go in and do these, but bet you this one looks considerably more rusty. Yeah, look how bad that one looks. That one's bad. So we'll still clean it up for the spare, but that's gonna be a spare. These ones all still kind of got paint on the back. They're not so bad. It's probably the worst lip too out of them. The rest, this one's actually like perfect inside. This one's not bad at all. That one's got water in it. Same with this one, but it still isn't that bad. That one I remember actually being really nice inside. So we'll beat that tire down quick. Do the same thing. And then we'll grind the back sides. See where we're at there. I don't know if I'll sandblast them. I think because these are pretty open rims. They don't have that many crevices you can't get in. With this actually did a pretty good job down in this lip. So might hit them again with another one of these, a fresh one, or spin it the other way. Now that it's all burred and pushed one direction. I'll save my time and not worry about that one until these four are done first, though. Yeah, that spare rim was arguably the best rim of them all. So we'll definitely use that one over this thing. You go over here. too bad. I did end up taking the sandblaster out. I thought I was going to be too lazy, but, you know, made a mess, but, you know. Yeah, I think they turned out pretty good considering. We'll hit them with that rusty metal primer and everything, too. Hopefully that helps. And here's the really rusty one. And it came back and I sanded it pretty quickly. Got all of the loose stuff off, so now it's just the, you know, hard stuff. So, yeah, it's not too bad. Got that paint surface out here, and we'll get them with a good color. Well, tire number 1 is done. It didn't go perfectly. This is that spare, and I think that under rust primer was too thick, and so it wanted to flake a little bit. I touched it up already with a spray can. I'm hoping the other tires that are thinner work out better. I noticed that primer is kind of thick. It doesn't harden very well. And I guess even with that matte, it still scuffed a little bit on the edges, but who cares really? At least they're not rusty for now. So that's pretty alright. We'll do the other 3 or 4, I guess. Hopefully they go a little better than that. Maybe I'll double up my matting. Yeah, look, it tore through the mat. That's why it's scuffed. So I'll fold this over and double over on it. There, that might help a little bit. That's why you did the test on the spare. Four white walls and a donut. Well, not really a donut. It's a full-size spare, but you know what I mean. I think they look really good with the poverty caps, don't they? That's a look right there. I do think that turned out well. This white wall, I don't know if it was stored improperly or what. You can see it's scuffing and black marks on it. None of them are perfect, but they're good enough. How about that? I think they'll look decent on that, and as soon as you drive them on the road, they'll be all dirty anyway, so I think we did pretty good. Scuffing was minimal on the rims. I mean, they're covered by hubcaps anyway, so who really cares? Fact is, they're black behind it, and I think that looks pretty good. It matches this gray on the, or it accents it pretty well, I would say. Yep, that's the look right there. Alright, I figure while I'm grinding the body and getting exposed metal, figured we'd get all of our panels out, and we'll hit them with a weldable primer, which is what we just did. So this is what I had. Lucky I had some, actually. I had a box of this stuff I bought for one of the welding patch panel repair projects I've yet to have done, so that stuff works pretty well, actually. It's self-etching and weldable, so cool. Got it sprayed on this. I gotta flip all of these over now and just spray the top, but those will be exposed once we weld this. This is what I'm concerned about, is making sure that this is coated on the inside where the panels meet, because otherwise that's where the rust is going to get in and start, and then it's just going to rot away the same way. So they got to flash for like 5 minutes, hit them with a quick second coat, and then we'll flip them over, and then we'll just do the tops real quick. We'll get them with real primer once they're on the vehicle, but any little bit helps. Alright, got the panels painted on both sides, and then did my grinding. Not the greatest job in the world, but you know, got them all ground down, and then I got them rust primed, or not rust primed, weld primed. Here and everything too. So we should, in theory. These fronts got to dry a little longer. I think it's been 20 minutes. They say wait 20 minutes to prime, or to weld. Should be good to start with this one, and then go to that one, and then go to the one over there, and then go to this one. Cross your fingers. Hopefully this goes well. I'll put you on the tripod. I'll let you watch me weld. Hopefully we'll have these panels on here in no time at all. Alright, well here's the initial bit. It's all tacked up on there. It ain't going anywhere. So there you go. Is it pretty? Absolutely the fuck not. Is it better than the rust hole that was there? I think so. I'm trying to get you a view also holding this welding helmet or wearing it. Yeah, is it tacked on there? Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to work, and I'm just gonna kind of fill this, you know, gap here. And I get, what is this, lap weld? Because we're lapped over and welding onto it. So cool. I had to grind down a spot there to clamp to, so that seems to be working all right. Yeah, nice. It ain't coming off. How about that? It ain't coming off. At least it's, the hole is covered. It makes me feel better. Oh, great. Once we get this welded up, we'll get the bump stop. I gotta look at some before pictures and see where they lined up. I think it lined up like right here. And we'll get the bump stop put on it. I would say panel number 1 is a success. I only mildly burned the shit out of myself. And it's on there. You know, it's beautiful welding because it's flux core, but it's on there, it's solid. I haven't got the backside all up there. You can see that. I don't know, maybe I'll put a little bit of fiberglass over it just to kind of seal it up, I think. Because, you know, it's all holy and pitted. So I think we'll, and then it'll kind of make it, you know, look better. Alright, I got smart. I'm wearing a sweatshirt now. It's like 85 degrees out. I'm sweating my ass off. But second panel I think is welded in. Shouldn't have touched that. It wasn't hot, but it was warm. I don't think it's going anywhere. Welds aren't that pretty. They weren't. I don't think I got as good of a ground either. So, you know, whatever. But it's on there. It's solid. It certainly ain't going anywhere. So we'll grind that down. We'll prime that. And the other side should be, the paint should be dry for the fiberglass. And then by the time we're done with the fiberglass on that side, we'll be ready to do it on this side. And yeah, so it's just kind of back and forth. And then we'll go over to the next one. And then we'll go back. And the next one and back. You know, we're getting there. Got 2 back panels done. So that's cool. The rear of the vehicle is patched as far as structure goes. I don't know what I was thinking, but I mixed that hardener way too much on that first batch and it immediately hardened. But, so it was too thick before I could kind of skim it out on that one. But hey, it sealed all the welds and stuff. And then we did a little better on the back. So we used a lot less and we were able to smooth it out. But it covers all those welds, you know, just seals up those holes. I don't know if I'll probably take a grinder, just knock off the hair and stuff that's kind of just stuck out. But we ain't gonna smooth it out too much. I mean, frame ain't like that anyway. But it's covered, it's sealed. That's what we're going for. So, that looks pretty good, I would say. Okay, second side's all done. Got the fiberglass in. And then also, after we did that, we got the bump stops in. I think I got them in the right spot. It's supposed to be about center of the wheel. And then just in front of these nuts. I was using a second gen for reference, but I think we got them close enough. They're present anyway, which is better than not. They welded in all right. So I'm gonna knock down this fiberglass, I think, and then prime over it one more time, and that'll be that until we prime the whole thing. Nice, look at that. The rear of the vehicle is patched. Now we just gotta finish the rust removal for the very back slot that I was ignoring. Yeah. Only so much we can do in here for now, but you know, better than nothing. Then we can put it back together. Alright, got both sides, got the fiberglass grinded down just a little bit, smoothed off, and then I got them painted on both sides. So we're done back here. Look at that. I'd say that turned out pretty good. That's not bad. Still better than it was. Now we're just gonna get up front here and start welding up there. I'll tack all the panels on that side, go do the other side, come back through, we'll do the same sort of process. Yeah, it's 88 degrees out right now. Luckily we got some clouds, but I got all three pieces. I tripped on the air compressor. Got all three pieces tacked up in here. Bottom piece is mostly welded in on the back side, but all three are in here. Yeah, no more rust hole. It's all gone. No, we're doing pretty good, I think. This turned out actually really well, in my opinion. Can I get you up to see the backside? Oh, yeah. Yep. It's getting there. It is getting there. Solid. It's all in there. That's nice. Look at that. We got a rail again. That makes me feel so much better about this van. That was what got me. These rockers, that don't bother me at all. Rusty rockers never hurt me none. It's the rails there where we lift the vehicle up, because now I'll feel comfortable taking it and getting it aligned, letting the shop laugh at my work. But yeah, now we can get it aligned, get tires all balanced. I think I'll balance the tires separately. I'll like drive them in loose to discount tire or something, and then we'll mount them up, and then we'll take it in, we'll drive it first, make sure she drives okay, then we'll bring it in and get it aligned. All right, back to work. Gotta get something to drink quick though. Yeah, it's cooking out here, and I'm wearing a sweatshirt, and I'm welding. It's not very fun. I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong. I'm having a good time here, but the sweating my eyeballs out is getting to me. Oh, my neck is killing me, but guess what? We're done welding. Yeah, it's all welded up. I gotta go in with the grinder, just kind of clean them up, and then we'll prime them, and then that's dry, and we'll go to the other side, and we'll just fill in all the, all the welds with some fiberglass. That way it's covered. But I actually got some pretty decent beads on here. When you've got, two nice panels overlapping each other here, it likes to weld really well. So it didn't do too bad there. But very, very good. Actually, I'm not done welding. I missed a spot. See it right there? See that little line right there? I missed that. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to weld that up, but otherwise we're done. Well, it's all done. I got the fiberglass on, sanded down. I don't think I sanded it down as good as I wanted to. And then I primed over it all. But, hey, I'd say it looks pretty good considering there are no holes on either side. Yeah, my sanding job on that side wasn't very good. So it kind of looks, but whatever, it's patched. I know it's welded pretty well. Okay, so got a bunch of work done here. We got most of the underbody primed in light gray, which is pretty much what the factory color was. There's a couple spots on the passenger side rocker area that I didn't get because I ran out of cans. I used 5 full spray cans, and that wasn't enough. And then we still got to do this section back here, which, if we do that, I ground down after I ran out of paint as best I could because there's so many little crevices. Took a scraper to it, and then I hit it with the rusty metal primer. Now that I got a light in here, I can see a few spots I didn't quite get in the corners and stuff. So I'll see if I can get a glove on here. I got a little bit of paint left in that tray there. That's the last of my paint. And I'll touch it up, but otherwise it's about as good as it's going to be. It's all rotten anyway up there. So there was a patch panel here. That was that. Remember that red paint that would stick through right here? They had made an inner panel there and riveted it on. Well, the rivets weren't holding to the rust, and the panel fell out when I started messing with it. So we'll have to make a new one of those panels. The other side's still original, looks like, as far as that inner panel goes. But it's all done as far as underbody rust prevention goes. Just got to prime it up, and then that'll be it. And then it's just clean up all the pieces like the gas tank and whatnot, and then put it all back on.